Thank you, Patricia, and thank you all. I think let's start with this proposal that Acacia Park, which houses, as Patricia just said, members of Parliament, should be released for housing. Because we can see and we can test if this is a serious proposal by what the DA does where it is in government. It is in government in the Western Cape, where it provides housing free to its members of its executive if they do not have a home within 50 kilometers of the city of Cape Town. So if the DA has a new policy or proposal regarding accommodation for public office bearers, then they can demonstrate it right here in the Western Cape by throwing the MECs out of those houses and making them available for affordable housing. We know that Helen Zille lives in Cape Town. She lived in Leeuwenhof, the Premier's residence, for her 10 years in office. Alan Windey had a house in Cape Town before he became Premier, and he moved into Leeuwenhof. So if they are serious about using public land that members of Parliament or members of the executive are using, then demonstrate it here where you have the power to demonstrate it. Leeuwenhof, for example, is 57,500 square meters of land, a large piece of land that is worth 154 million rand. Let them put their money where their mouth is and demonstrate that they don't believe public office bearers should have housing when they don't live in the town in which their legislature is. And they can demonstrate it by starting where they are in government, right here in the Western Cape. The minister or the leader spoke about the provincial government's own land. And we can test whether this DA is really committed to delivering affordable housing on well-located land, quite simply by looking at their own track record. In 2011, over 10 years ago, the provincial cabinet adopted what was called the Inner City or the Central City Regeneration Program. It was a glossy call for proposals released by then MEC Robin Carlyle. And in that document, they were proposing high-density, affordable housing in the inner city on a number of sites. Included in that document is the government garage, just down the road here, a massive site that is 30,000 square meters of vacant land on that government garage site, available for affordable housing, but never implemented. There is a precinct called the Dorp Street Precinct. It has 25,800 square meters of development rights, right in the heart of the city, owned by the provincial government, part of that 2011 plan. It is still abandoned and derelict buildings. In Prestwich, a precinct called the Prestwich Precinct in De Waterkant, again, they identified almost 6,000 square meters of land or buildings that they would make available for the development of affordable, high-density housing. It has never happened. So they had a plan in 2011 that they have never implemented. The land is still available to be used. Let them put their money where their mouth is. I'm sorry, I'm losing my place here. I just want to deal with the city land.
Yeah.
There we go. So as Patricia was saying, in 2017, we identified 11 sites. As you all know, many of you were there when we released them, in the inner city, in Woodstock and in Salt River. We are on one of the sites today. We released those sites in September 2017, so exactly 4 years ago. By February 2018, we had 13 competitive proposals to develop affordable housing in mixed income, mixed use developments with a minimum threshold of 2,000 social housing units that would have been built by the private sector, free of charge to the city of Cape Town and its people who need housing. All of those sites are currently standing empty and undeveloped. They should be bustling construction sites today, building tens of thousands of housing units, including at least 2,000 social housing units. It's Fruit and Veg City, it's Pickwick Street, it's the Woodstock Hospital, there's a park right next to the Woodstock Hospital, and it is a parking lot in Newmarket Street. If you want to test whether they are serious about using this land for affordable housing, just check about a month or two ago they gave Growth Point a lease on their parking lot site that was supposed to be used for affordable housing. So they are not serious about using this land. They cancelled this project 2 months after we resigned from the city. But these 5 sites were just 5 sites in a long pipeline of sites that we had identified for the development of affordable housing. In Canterbury Street, we were going to release the next site where we would have developed affordable housing. We also took to the DA caucus shortly before we resigned a proposal to participate in what was called the C40 carbon neutral project. The mayor at the time was very involved in the C40 cities organization, and the mayor of Paris was championing a program to develop carbon neutral social justice, spatial justice developments in cities around the world. We took that to the DA caucus and proposed a number of sites to be used for integrated development. One of the most prominent sites was that very large parking lot right next to the Civic Centre that we proposed be developed as a carbon neutral building that would include affordable and social housing. And the DA caucus said no. And that was the last caucus meeting that we attended as members of the DA. In that same caucus meeting, we were told that spatial transformation is a swear word. So, members of the media, good colleagues, what the DA is doing right now is, as the leader said, a horrible, dirty, disgusting play with poor people's ambitions to live in a dignified way. They are playing with people's emotions, with people's right to housing, and it is a disgusting game because they are politicizing our ambitions and people's ambitions to live in decent housing in well-located areas, and they have no intention of developing any of this housing that they're proposing because they've been in government for 15 years in Cape Town and they haven't built one single unit in the inner city or in any of the CBDs that make up our city. Not a single unit in any of these CBDs. So let's just see these proposals for what they are: blue lies. Thank you very much.